It's Sunday morning after the aftermath. You can see the aftermath. One amplifier, two amplifier, flywheel puller, timing light, voltmeter, flywheel. Let me turn this water off. This is my 1969 Evinrude 55 horse. To me, this was the best motor Evinrude built and the prettiest. I mean, look at the style. There's no sticker on it. This is plastic, fitting. I mean, and they only made this motor for 1 year with that cowling. The 55 was made in the year 68 and 69. Then in 70 they jumped it up to a 60 horsepower. So they, like those small block Chevrolets, started at a 283 and ended up at a 400 cubic inch. But my dad bought this brand new in 69 or 70. That was his initials right here. You can't see it hardly, but it was BT. Which I had this thing painted from a friend of mine. It's almost a factory color. This color. This is white, which is original. This color is the same color as my 2001 Chevrolet truck, but it's almost like the original Evinrude color. But then that front badge that says the 55 with the blue and red, I've been looking for about 8 years for one. Finally found one at marineengine.com. But I've looked there before. I guess, they get inventory from closed dealerships or parts places. It was only $4, and it makes a world of difference. I mean, but anyway, this motor's been sitting up for about 4 years. I've been keeping it at my dad's, and I just wanted to crank it up. I love to hear an outboard run. And so I brought it home, and it hit, but it would not run. I was like, damn, I could have swore I ran it out of gas. But anyway, pulled the carbs down, cleaned them, and that was it. It was running. Then for about a week, I would come home from work and, crank it. This is the fastest cranking motor I've ever seen. I mean, you just barely hit the key. But I did that for a week. Boy, it hit it, fire right up, purr like a kitten. But Friday I came home from work, saw my dad walking, so I was going to tell him to come over. I wanted him to see it, show him it run, So I got here and I cranked it up, and it started acting erratic. I mean, it's like, what the hell? That was Friday. So I worked on it till 8:30 Friday night. I had put new points, a distributor, and a cap in it, which it didn't even need it, because I was trying to cure a problem. So I got lucky and found all that stuff cheap on eBay. Because they want $200 for a distributor, $100 for a rotor. I found the distributor, I think I got it for 60 or 40 bucks, and that rotor for 25 bucks, brand new. What the hell? But there wasn't nothing wrong with the original from 1969. You just clean the carbon off or whatever. It was fine. But anyway, because you take it to a boat mechanic, most boat mechanics probably can't even work on these motors. This is the electric shift, which I just ordered new buttons. I want this to be cleaned up. New buttons, a new cover plate. Then I ordered the new red here, and this will clean up right here. But there's it is, the old. Eventually I'm gonna see if I can get a new one of these. But anyway, that motor, man, I found some new one of these on eBay, new old stock. I would love to have it, but it has a hole right here instead of this Evinrude emblem, which you can't no longer get. That would be nice. Like I said, this boat's been outside. The motor's been covered, but I'm gonna redo this whole boat. I got it for nothing, the boat trailer. I used it like this. I mean, I caught some fish in it. But I'm gonna put an aluminum floor in it, put aluminum deck, have it spray lined, the aluminum. I've done another boat like that. I'm gonna make this all aluminum, get it spray lined, spray bed liner, I mean, get all this bed liner sprayed. After I put the aluminum in, I built this. Then I put my net right here. Or I'm fishing at night, I got a hook, aluminum pole with the hook that I grabbed the throw lines with. I put it there and hang my lantern up there. But like I said, I built this. I am a welder. But getting back to this motor, man, that thing was running erratic. So like I said, I have extra parts. I get them real cheap on, this is the original amplifier. They want like $300 for this original part. And what happened with these old motors, the wires were crap and all the insulation would just deteriorate, and that's all that was wrong with this. But it's sealed in here with this potting or whatever this stuff is. But I sit here and I heated it up a little bit, then I got a knife and I dug it up, and I dug in there till I could get to good wires. Then this is off one that I accidentally burned up, and I heat shrinked connectors to the original wires in there. Then I just got some plastic and melted it and filled it back in, because I didn't have the money at the time to get a new one, and this one still works. But like I said, I found a brand new one for $25. I don't think the guy knew what he had, or he didn't care. But I found a brand new one for $25 on eBay. And so when the time came, I got it. $25, brand new. Anyway, I swapped out the amplifier, I swapped out the coil, I pulled the flywheel off, checked the point gap. I put new points in it a couple of years ago when I put the distributor and rotor, and I got new plug wires on it that I put a couple of years ago. I found them cheap on eBay. I think I got all three of them for 30 bucks. Hell, they want like 35 bucks a piece for them. This is a 3-cylinder. But changed all that out. Didn't make a damn bit of difference. I have another motor over there, a 60 horse, 70 horse, 1970 60 horse Johnson. The only thing different on the carburetor is the high speed orifice. So those carburetors were good shape. I took them, put them on, still put them on here, still the same damn problem. So like I said, it was going to bother me until I get this thing fixed. So I ran a compression check on it. And I said, well, because I could choke individually, I got the linkage, choke linkage disconnected. That's got them linked together, so I can do each cylinder individually. And this middle cylinder, when I choked it, it didn't die down as much as it did with the other ones. So I did the compression check. Sure enough, this middle cylinder had what was it? 110. This one had 120, and this one had 120. But hell, it ran good last time when I had it out. It did have a little problem at a certain RPM range, almost like you had a frog in your throat. But wide open, it screamed. It ran good. At idle, it ran good. But So that's why I was stumped. But anyway, on some forum I read that Evinrude issued a bulletin, service bulletin, back in the day, that there should be, but this was on like a 100 horse V4, but I think it had the same era, you know, same setup. It was just a V4, but it was calling for this bolts to this bracket, which is not bolted to the power head, it's bolted to the lower motor cover. It's hard to see. But anyway, it called for a ground wire to go from the mounting bracket to the power head. So I got to thinking, you know, I said, well, hell, let me try that. Maybe that thing's not grounded, because that's, I mean, it was running erratically. It just wasn't doing. So I went to my spare motor over here. There's my smoker I built. I smoke a lot of summer sausage in that dude. But anyway, here's the old 70 horse, 1970 60 horse. You can see the old amplifier. And I don't know if you can see it, but you can see these wires right there, how they're deteriorated. And you can go, yeah, that's going to the amplifier. Here's that amplifier. See, this amplifier is probably still good. It's just those wires weren't worth the crap. But anyway, I came to here, and it had a jumper wire from here up to here. Like, this is a little different setup. In 1970 they had a terminal board, whereas the 6955 had all plug-in connectors. But anyway, so I had took the wire off there, put that ground wire on right here, grounded that, bam, cranked it up, which it always cranked right up, and I sit there and let that sucker run for about 45 minutes. It idled perfect, never missed. So that was it. So and that was last night about 7 o'clock when I figured that out. But like I said, I can come out here cold, which I did. To be honest, I did crank it already this morning at about 7:30, but I don't even need to choke it or nothing. I mean, so here's the old electric shift. You'll see it hit when it's in gear. That's in forward. That's back to neutral. Here's reverse. I got to put the original carburetors back on it. But I mean, you just barely hit the key on this sucker. Which this is a newer ignition switch. It used to have the original switch here, and then it had a choke toggle switch here, but I put the new push to choke switch. There's my running lights. I put that where the original choke switch used to be. There's a tack. But like I said, I got to put the original carburetors back on. Like I said, the only difference is the orifice. These are dirty looking on the outside, stained. I could clean them, but I want to put the original ones back on. I got some new orifices. Evinrude changed the part number for their orifice. The original was a number 60. Now that new part number says it's a number 61. And I checked the 60 horse to see what the difference is. That's weird. The high speed orifice on the 60 is a number 58, which is smaller. The only difference I could see on these 55 and 60 horsepowers, the 60 had a different head, and it had the carburetors. It had a smaller jet in the high speed orifice, and I'm assuming it had a higher compression head. And of course the flywheel, the 55 had timing marks. Let me see if you, that little mark right there should line up with this and this mark. This is a different mark. Don't use that mark on the 50. That's for 100 horsepower. But that straight mark, it should be lined up right here with your timing light when it's at full advance. But that was about the only difference in the 55 and 60 horse. You know, the terminal board wiring, but same block, bore and stroke. But like I said, I know that middle cylinders compression is a little low. I mean, I've got another primary boat. This boat, like I said, I just wanting to keep my dad's motor. I just had him down here this morning and I showed it to him. But we both agree, like I said, at 69, I mean, that's got class. I mean, it's just a pretty motor. Pretty motor. I've got a 7785 V4 Evinrude. I found a 69 V4 cowling on eBay for like $85, and I bought it and I had it painted, you know, white. My boat's a dark green, so I had this part dark green, and oh, that baby looks beautiful. But these old motors, I think I said that 69, my dad bought this, and he never had it worked on. Never. Like I said, the only thing that really went wrong is those wires frayed, the insulation frayed, and I put a new wiring harness on it about 1990. I found a new wiring harness for 75 bucks. And like I said, I've replaced all this, but like I said, I got it cheap. Then this is vacuum switch. This is an electric shift, and this, when you turn the motor off, this has a vacuum on it, so it makes contact. So when you kill it, it don't lurch into forward gear, because forward gear has no power to it. These motors were designed to be fail-safe. If it didn't have power, it would at least be in forward gear and get you back home. So whenever you kill it, you're shutting the power down, so it would lurch into forward gear. So this, combined with a diode up there connected to the switch, it keeps power momentarily to the lower unit, so it stays in neutral. But like I said, I love this motor. You might say I'm like an addict to it. But American made, man. Like I said, 1969. Like I said, the original amplifier is still good. Just the wires rotted out. I mean, they knew how to build stuff back then to last. Like I said, 1969. Well, thanks for watching.